Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Old Ladies Lift Chat. I am one of your hosts, Larnie Mulvey.
And I'm Chandler Mars, and we're here today with Karen Hurley, a master's powerlifter, master's world record powerlifter, who we're happy to discuss what it's like to be lifting in your 60s and 70s. Karen, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on again. I really love talking to you the first time and look forward to catching up this time.
Yes,
Yeah,
2 years ago. Two
It
years ago
has,
was when
yes,
we talked.
it's been a busy 2 years. My goodness.
Yes.
So many
it
things have
really is.
happened. Yeah.
So before we get into the update over the last couple of years, why don't you give our audience a little bit of background on who you are, how you came to powerlifting, when you came to powerlifting, and things like that.
Okay. So let's see the short version of it. I was training like just in a regular big box gym with a trainer for about 10 years. I started around my 50s, early 50s, and that was just, basic strength training. And then about 10 years went by or so, actually maybe more like 15. And she was going to go off and have another career. So I was looking for the next challenge, and quite by accident I stumbled into a powerlifting gym, not to powerlift, but to do a workout with a friend and her trainer. And the thing that happened for me there was that I caught this kind of gritty vibe of this gym and this heavy weight clanging and all this. And so then that was in another town. I came home and went looking for such a gym because I didn't even know anything about powerlifting, never even knew the word existed, certainly didn't know about garage gyms and powerlifting gyms type thing. And I thought, well, maybe there's one where I live, and started looking, found one, went in there, talked to them. They just happened to have an introduction to powerlifting class going on. So I joined that class 3 times a week. And literally I just fell in love with it. The whole thing of just the new learning experience. I'm a lifetime learner. I love new challenges, and the idea that I could learn something that I didn't know anything about and maybe be good at it really had an appeal for me. And so I just started this class and started learning to lift. And I tell you, the first time I deadlifted 195 pounds, I burst into tears. I couldn't believe it that I had done that. It was just amazing to me. And it just went from there. That was in, let's see, 2018. I was 64, I guess. 64, I think. And the first time I competed ended up being the very next May. So 2019, at the age of 65, I competed for the first time. And I'm telling you, after that, I was lit,
So you
absolutely
really
lit
you
up.
you started competing right before the pandemic then.
I competed 3 times in 2019, and then the world shut down in 2020. And so we went chill. And that's when a lot of, my gym closed and they sold off their equipment. That's when I got my garage gym set up, is I bought equipment from them, then subsequently have acquired more. But that is exactly what happened. The last day I was in the gym was like the middle of March 2020.
Uh-huh.
And then the next time I picked up a barbell was like the middle of May, once I actually got the equipment. And then I started training again and just trained and trained until the very next time that I competed was July of 2021.
Wow. So
So
I
yeah, it's
didn't
been
know
like that.
that. I don't
I
know
didn't
why I didn't know
either.
that.
Yeah.
Are you still in your home gym or are you
He
going
is.
to you are
Yes. Oh
doing a
yeah.
home gym, right?
I
Okay.
train I
Oh,
train
that's
at
right. That's
home
right. Yeah.
mostly by myself. My trainer lives nearby and I go down to his place when I'm doing maxes or
Mhm.
need a tune up on something or whatever. But it's and I love being there because there's other people there and it's a young crowd and they're, just wonderful. It's really fun. You know how it is when you're working with other people.
Yes.
There's just a vibe and it's fun. But I tell you, training in my garage is it's just too convenient. I mean,
Right?
it's so easy.
Yeah, I learned
Yes.
that too during the pandemic. I mean,
Yes.
that's when our gym came to our home,
Yeah.
first in our dining room and now in our living room. And
Yeah.
I still think it's the best investment we've ever made. I don't know
Oh.
why we didn't know about this decades ago. Didn't
And if
know.
you had asked me in 2018, would you like to have a setup in your garage, like gym equipment in your house, or it's something like, no.
No,
Why would I want that? No.
exactly.
Honestly, I just it knocks me out how that flipped over for me.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy going to the gym. And one of the
Oh,
things that I learned working with that trainer all those years and now powerlifting, one of the things I have mastered, and I'm so proud of it, and it just fills me with such a sense of agency, is I can walk into any gym anywhere and make a workout.
there
You
you
know what I
go.
mean? I have
Right.
some actual mastery and some skill,
You
and
can
that that
program for
is that
yourself.
is
Yeah.
that's something. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I've
very cool.
learned that I'm quite good at it most of the time. You know,
Yeah,
there are certainly
yeah,
times when everything goes off the rails and you
yeah,
really need a coach in there to,
sure.
settle you
Well,
down and get you back going. But yeah, I
yeah.
do. I enjoyed during the pandemic programming for myself, and I still enjoy it. Although
Yeah.
now sometimes I'd like to be mindless and have someone else do it, but
That's what I do. That's why I pay a coach. I like you give me my piece of paper every week,
Yeah.
you know, and because I don't know if I could program for myself. I might
Mm-mm.
my program
Why?
would be so wrong. It'd be so wrong.
Yeah, there's so much I don't know, which
oh,
is fine.
certainly. Yeah.
And I get my whole meat prep from soup to nuts, right up through meat day. I've got the whole thing right in front of me. And so, like this last year, I've had a lot of life events and things I've had to be away from home. And
Mhm.
then other years, we've had vacations and different things. And I've been in a meat prep, and I can go find a gym, as people do. I know I'm not the only person that does this, but
Yeah.
it's magical to me that I do it. I can go wherever we're staying, and I can find a gym, and I can do
What you
my
need to do.
workout. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's so empowering. It's so empowering.
I think so. I think lifting is particularly for older women, maybe for all women. I wish I did start it earlier, but the kind of lifting I did when I was younger
Hmm.
was an accessory to my other sports. And it
Hmm.
was also relative to being a woman because back then, way back then, women didn't go to the gym as much. And
No,
to the extent that we went to the gym, or what we did in the gym was high rep, low weight. And
yeah,
Mhm.
that was the
or
prescription for every
cardio.
Or cardio, yeah.
Yeah,
cardio. I love cardio actually.
Oh,
step
poo.
aerobics. Oh my gosh, I spent so many hours at step aerobics.
I did too, and I was just thinking the other day. I was telling my husband we were watching this show on Apple TV, Acapulco. It's really cute if you haven't watched it. But they had a segment where it's the '80s, so they're all doing the aerobics with the leotards and the whole thing.
Mhm.
And
Oh
I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I did that, and that looks like fun. I kind of want to go do a little bit of that again,
yeah.
It's
but
I
gonna
mean,
come back.
sure,
It's
it's
coming
gonna
back, I
come
it
swear.
back.
probably will. It probably
But
will.
but
Yeah,
back to the lifting. Let's get
yeah,
back
yeah,
to lifting. So I want to talk about how it is to lift while you are older, as you get older, and the fact that you can increase strength as you go. And how do you recover from the workouts? Do you find yourself changing the workout sometimes because you're not recovering as well, and things like that.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
let's
Hmm.
talk about the fact
Sure.
that we are getting older and we are lifting damned heavy. How do you deal with that? How does your body deal with that?
Well, I've never been anything but older in my lifting. Okay. I
That's
mean, I started at 65
it.
and I'm 71 now. And so this is all I've got. Now,
Well, over
I,
the last 4 or 5 years, have you noticed any
sure.
changes in your programming and recovery relative to or do you just keep
Mentally,
getting stronger?
yeah, mentally, any changes?
Um, so mindset is everything. So when I indulge in the conversation in my head that I'm too old for this, it is harder. And when I can set that aside and say, well, okay, you're as old as you are, and yet you're doing all this. I mean, I'm lifting, I'm training 3, 4 times a week. I'm riding a horse 2, 3 times a week. I'm doing all the rest of things that life requires, on a daily basis. Now, probably the last year or so or two, I might say that I really have had to tune up my attention to rest and recovery.
Mm.
So, um, that what I want to say about that is I'm the kind of person though who's always sort of gone full tilt until I'm like exhausted. Even in my 40s, I was like go 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 until I kind of hit the wall. I mean, my husband's seen me do this over and over and over again in little ways and big ways. So because I want to continue to lift and be strong and age into this decade and the next
Uh-huh.
with all the mobility and all the strength I can carry, it comes to me in a way that it hasn't before, that I need to be very mindful about recovery and rest. So that if I don't pay attention to that, two things go wrong. One is my mindset does go off track. And
Hmm.
I finally connected the dots on that so that it's pretty reliable thing I can catch myself, is that when I start feeling discouraged or not enjoying what I'm doing, whatever it is, whether it's riding the horse or lifting, I think I can go, oh, wait a minute, I'm
I'm
tired.
tired.
I'm tired. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a simple thing,
Yes.
but that's the last thing I would ever go to before. So I'd say with some age and with some experience and with some necessity to prioritize that, to avoid injury, to avoid to not avoid, but to be able to sustain the level of activity that I want to have, I've had to build that in more. So yesterday, for example, I made myself take a whole rest afternoon. That
Okay.
was like, you have to do that. Just go sit down.
So what is included in your rest and recovery day?
Well, yesterday it was laying on this couch with a book in my hand and a cat on my chest. That was that. I mean, I and my mind, I'm like, well, I could be doing that or could be doing that, but nobody was here. Jim was out of town. Everybody was quiet, and that was just kind of
What you needed
deciding,
to
making a
do.
conscious decision to rest and drink water and have some, good snack and just take that time and let that be a thing. Like I schedule my lifting, like I schedule other things that I do, make that be a thing that I scheduled and put in there. Mm-hmm.
Do you schedule or does your coach schedule like deload
Oh
periods
yeah, love a deload week.
regularly? So
Yes.
how regularly do you deload?
Usually, let's see. Now, I think I went. Each training plan is different. So this time, once we got to 2 rep max, and that took about, let's say 10 or 12, not 10 or 12, 8 or 9 weeks, we built up. I started at 66% and it built
Okay.
up every week. And then we got to 2 rep max, which is what, 96%.
Uh-huh.
And then the
Hmm.
very next week, we deload. So we
Okay.
dropped down to 72 or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
67, something like that. And then we start building again. So we kind of do that sort of a kind of a schedule. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
volume, has your ability to, what's your ability to do volume and what is volume for you? I mean, do you do sets of five? Do you do more or less sets of three volume?
Yeah.
What's your
Well,
volume?
lower percents is more volume. So today I did 72, did squats this morning, 72 and 77%. And it was a 4x4 to 5. So I did 4x4, and the top set was 1x2 to 4. So I did the four because I had it.
Hmm.
Okay.
I mean, to me, deload is the sweet spot. I love it. I know there's lots of varying opinions about it.
Uh-huh.
I look
I,
forward to
I
it. To
love
me,
I love
Yeah.
it.
I love it.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
My coach has been calling it a reload instead of a deload.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
a more
That's
appropriate
like
term,
the mind. That's
actually.
like the mind thing. Like, okay, but he
Yeah.
has my. I used to have it every 4 week blocks,
Mm,
but now he has me at 3 week blocks.
okay.
So I mean, I love it, but I was like, this is already. I was like, already? I'm on. I thought I had one more week, but he changed it up because he knew. Well, my medications have changed and a lot of things have
Hmm.
changed in my body, so he
Sure.
adjusted it. So I had those 3 week blocks now instead of 4. I was like, okay, whatever. You
I
program.
mean, never underestimate the power of rest and recovery.
Right.
Going back to 2020, I mean, I had competed 3 times in 2019 because I just came out of the gate hot and heavy. And then I started setting records and stuff. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. And now about every time, because I how old I am and I'm competing in 100 kilogram weight class and 90 kilogram, I'm like setting a record every time I get up there. And then the pandemic happens and I've got a year and a half of rest. Well, I'm telling you, in 2021, I did the heaviest squat and the heaviest deadlift I've ever done
Oh,
after all that time of just taking time to train and,
Uh-huh.
lots of that. And then I hit it again and started competing
Wow.
again. And I've been able to maintain my strength, but I haven't done that squat again. I've been close, but I haven't done that squat again, and I haven't added weight. So this is where aging becomes a thing. Is I kind of wonder, am I gonna do lifts heavier than I've done before? Am I gonna be able to do that? You know, um, and I don't know yet. I mean, I know that last year we went to nationals, USPA drug tested nationals in Vegas, and I pulled not I didn't lock it out, but I got to my knees 363 point something, I forget. And
mm,
that was the heaviest deadlift I had ever even attempted. And I
yeah.
had no idea I could even do that. So, deadlift is my lift.
Yeah,
I love it.
mine too.
It's my thing. So I think, oh, okay, I've got more deadlift in me. I can do a heavier deadlift. Squat, we'll see. We'll see.
You didn't throw bench in there. What's up? What about bench?
So I've made some gains. No, let me tell you.
Everybody's
Well,
favorite lift.
girl, bench is trash. That's what they say, right? Bench is trash. Unless you're a bench specialist, then good for you.
Everybody else kind of just works their way through it.
I
It's
know.
like that. It's that event. You're just like, okay, just
It's
one, two, three. Okay, next.
it's the
It's so
hardest.
fickle. It is
Well,
so
it's the
fickle.
most technical lift.
It
It's the
is.
hardest. And it is true that before we went to nationals last year, I worked extra hard on bench, and I did my best comp bench ever. It was
Nice,
138, and
nice.
it just boom. It was just
It was
awesome.
there.
It was right there. Yep.
Yeah.
So I probably can add some to my bench. Yes.
I feel
I don't
you.
know. I mean, I'm not giving up. I just have all these questions in my head about what it means to be 70 in your 70s and still be lifting. Can you add weight? I look at some other people lifting, and I don't know what all their stats are, but I see what their numbers are and I think, oh, okay. I know I added tons of weight the first 5 years. I mean, I
Yeah.
just kept adding weight to my lifts and it was amazing, but that has definitely leveled a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
But
okay.
that's
I don't mind.
still quite a bit, in your 70s, late 60s and 70s. Those are remarkable numbers when you think about it. And
Hmm.
Yeah.
just watching the trajectory of, frankly, all the women in the Old Ladies Lift group improve their numbers to where
Hmm.
from, when we started the group 5 years ago or whenever we started it, I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
There were not that many of us, one, and
Mm-mm,
then we weren't lifting as heavy. And
mm-mm.
everybody, you've watched them just increase their numbers exponentially.
Yeah.
Not quite exponentially, but
I
maximum,
think so. I feel like
you know.
I feel
Yeah.
like it has. Like
And they've all
um,
gotten older, or we've all gotten older. It's
yeah,
not been, age has not been the factor that one would think it might have
Mm-mm.
been.
right.
No, I don't think it is.
Right.
I think
Great.
it depends on a lot of other things as well. I think it depends on how hard you train, how consistently you train, how good your nutrition is.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
these things I know from
Health.
the 6 years of experience make a huge,
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah.
That when my sleep is dialed up, when my food is dialed up, I am stronger. I feel better doing it, and my
Mm-hmm.
numbers are better. It's just easier to
Yeah.
do. Yep.
Certainly, and I noticed that particularly with the sleep and food, and I notice
Yes. Sleep.
each
Mm-hmm.
independently, but when my sleep is off, everything goes. And I don't
Sure.
remember that being a problem when I was young. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm much more susceptible to a bad night's sleep than I was. Diet as well. If I have a couple days where my diet is not particularly good because life has gotten in the way, I can
Mhm.
really feel it
Yeah.
in my lips. So
Hmm.
I got a
Hmm.
diet question for you, and you may
Yeah.
not know the answer because you may or may not try. How many calories a day do you have to consume to do the things you do?
So I don't know how many calories it is. I guess I could do the math on it. But right now, my macros are protein 175,
Mhm.
uh, carbs 150, I think, and
Okay.
fat like 50 or 55, something like that. So it's probably right around 2000. I don't know. You have to do the
Yeah.
math on that.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
relatively low fat on this. I
Well,
mean,
I'm cutting. I'm doing
okay.
meat. Yeah. I mean, I could eat a lot more for sure. I could eat more. But I'm doing a meet in August and I want to compete in 90-kilogram weight class.
Okay.
Yeah. So I try to keep my walking around weight right there on the line between the two, but things got a little out of hand this last year. And so I'm trying to slowly cut without costing myself anything in my lifts and in my training. So that's why they're a little bit lower. And the
Mm.
carbs too. I could do with more carbs probably, but I'm getting by all right.
Yeah.
Lots of vegetables.
Lots of.
Lots of vegetables. Yeah. And ground turkey.
Oh,
Oh.
cool.
Ugh.
Oh, come on now. Come
I
Okay.
on.
cannot
Yeah, I
stand ground
know. Yeah,
turkey.
it's
Oh,
something, you want to mix up your meals and you throw in a ground turkey. It's sometimes I'm just like, just chew it, and then swallow it. Just chew
Yeah.
it.
It's not for pleasure. It's just
No.
nutrition.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's all it is. It's just fine. And if you're hungry enough, it all tastes good.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not, but yes.
Well, grilled chicken breast if you prefer.
Yeah, no, that taste after a while, that's pretty bad too. You eat chicken breasts multiple meals a day. It just is like just swallow it. It's
Yeah.
really sometimes I'm like
Well, I'll tell you what my latest thing is. I'm really grooving on grilled chicken breast with lots of herbs on it, celery, apple, with a little tiny bit of walnut and a little tiny bit of feta and a little bit of a kind of a blush vinaigrette dressing, and then you just mix it all up, and it's a brilliantly crunchy. It requires a lot of chewing. There's a lot of protein in it, and
interesting.
it's amazing.
Is
So
that a
that's my
salad,
latest thing.
Karen?
You could call it that. I mean,
Maybe I ought to put it up in the
it's a bowl of
recipe.
chopped up stuff that tastes good.
The
Yeah.
strangest combination that I do that I never would have in a million years thought turned out good would be to do kale, which I don't like kale, but you saute a
Mm-mm.
little kale, onions, garlic, so on and so forth. And then you add sometimes a little ham or chicken, depending on how you're going. But you add either apples or cranberries. The,
Yeah.
the mix
Hmm.
of the,
Yeah.
the sweet and
Yeah.
sour works
Exactly.
really well together.
Sweet and savory combination
Yeah,
is it's
yeah. That's
good.
I don't do it very often, but every now and again I get a hankering for
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
You want something that tastes good. But too much variety is bad because that'll steer you off the track. Like
It does.
sometimes the sameness of it all makes it easier to stick
Yeah.
It does.
to a
I think it
macro plan.
absolutely
Hmm.
does. You're
Yeah.
right on that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now
Hmm.
you're motivating me to get back into turkey and chicken breast.
Well, try balsamic vinegar on it. It's
Oh,
pretty
I
good
know. I
stuff.
do marinate everything with balsamic
Yeah,
vinegar, oregano,
Karen, I think you should
basil.
start posting your food so I can see it.
you think?
There you go. It's
Well,
working
okay.
though.
Think
Are you
about it.
able to cut? Are you cutting? I mean, is
Oh
it
yeah. Oh
okay?
yeah. Yeah, most
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
So now you've inspired me
I
because
will I will make weight. This is for my coach at Fiercely Fueled, Pia. I will make weight. Make no mistake about it.
go,
He's
Karen.
all, I know. So yeah, I'm very goal oriented. So once I get a stake in the ground about something, it usually happens.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that mindset. I feel like I'm kind of floating a little bit right now just because I haven't competed since last January.
Hmm.
Because I tore my Achilles. So now I'm coming
Mm.
back into my first competition in July, and I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of easing into it. But with strongman, we if you're a super heavyweight, you're just super heavyweight. Like they they really sometimes you have to weigh in, sometimes you don't. Most of the times you do,
Oh
but it's
yeah,
kind of
it's
like,
completely
oh, okay.
different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a bench only meet when I had my Achilles tear and I would train. So, like the technicality of it, it made me
Yeah.
like bench. This whole
Yeah.
injury made me like bench. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
dang it. Who would have thought? Now it's like a challenge for me. So,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that something you're like thinking about, like in your meet coming up in August? Like, I'm gonna up my bench this competition.
I'd really like to hit that at least hit that number again that I did in July in 2023. That would be awesome to just sustain that. And if I can add even 2.5 kilos or one
It's a
and a
win.
quarter kilos, if I can chip it a little up, that would be fine with me.
It's a win. It's a
Yeah, I
Modest,
mean,
modest, gains are fine at
yeah,
for me.
especially with bench. I find those
Yeah.
fractional plates are very useful with bench.
Yeah, I mean, I pushed 126, 120, 132, somewhere in there, not even reliably the 132 for a while. And then
hmm
all of a sudden, boom, this
Yeah.
138 happened. And I'm like, yes, yes, that was good.
I actually the very first competitive bench I did was 126.
Hmm?
The very first
Oh,
meet
yeah,
I did, and then it
yeah,
stuck there. No, then the coach did something and some workout I did 145, just randomly 145.
nice.
But
Hmm.
then 126 stuck there for the next like 3 or 4 years, and then it
Yeah,
inched up to 130-ish, and then so on and so forth. And it's only been in recent
yeah.
years that I've gotten over anything. I mean, now
Hmm.
this last week I hit a very ugly 160, so it wouldn't have counted, but I've been consistently hitting 155. So we're there.
Nice.
But
Nice.
it took,
Hey, I'd pay
this
extra
is
for
like
that.
8 years of starting at 126.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I have no natural bench talent whatsoever. And but yet if I do a pin press, if I do a pin press from the chest like a dead stop, I can rep 165, 170.
Hmm.
But it's that technique that I think I have no ability to hold. And
It's a lot.
yeah, I think that's a lot. I think, except for those women or men too, who are innately good at this, the rest of us, it's not necessarily just a matter of strength. It's a matter of not being
No.
able to hold the technique on the way down in order to accumulate force on the way back up. So,
Somebody said to me once, it's a squat on your back. So as technical as squat is with all the things that you got to keep moving in
uh-huh.
the right direction, think of it that way. It's like a squat, only you're on your
I'm
back.
gonna
And
suck
and
at
the and the
stupid.
comparison there has to do with the whole body tension that you have to hold when you do a
Yeah.
squat.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the thing about a bench is the whole body tension.
You have to hold it down there. You don't have to hold
Yeah.
the squat at the bottom. You hit the bottom and you're back up.
Yeah,
Whereas,
but yeah, but you have to hold, you have to
yeah,
have that whole body tension. If you don't have the tension, sometimes you don't come out of the hole, or
Yeah.
sometimes other things happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you think of it that way, maybe it helps because
maybe,
everything has to be
yeah.
holding that bar
And I
because
think
it
that's
is so
probably the
not
most
your
difficult
arms.
time. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
most difficult aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've been told by my coach many a times that I collapse at the bottom on the bench.
Ugh, it's embarrassing, but whatever. I got nothing to prove here, nothing to prove, nowhere to get to. Just
Yeah.
having
So,
fun, just having fun.
Do you feel like that mentality is part of aging gracefully? Like, got nothing to prove. Let's just go out there, see what we can do, and we're gonna do what we can do, what our body gives us at that time. Do you feel like that's kind of the
Uh,
aging wisdom that we
I
get
I
as
would
lifters?
language it a little differently. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I have no investment in aging gracefully.
Hmm.
None whatsoever.
what is your investment in?
Yeah, what
I
yeah.
mean, I would rather age strongly, boldly, um, you know,
Age strongly. There's a t-shirt for you.
comfortable in my own skin, um, you know, self-expressed,
I like
this,
that.
these kinds of things. Grace in the sense of being a person of grace or being a woman of grace or giving grace to others, giving grace to myself. Sure. In that regard, sure. But gracefully in the, and when I think of it, it sort of puts me in mind of this idea that women should be somehow, in this
Submissive.
little sweet package. And
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
kind of what it conjures up for me. Maybe that's not what you meant. But
No, but I
yeah,
think that's it's absolutely the connotation that it comes with, and I like your interpretation
I do
better,
too. I
actually.
do too.
I think those are words of wisdom that we should all pay heed to.
sure. I mean, if you think about it, it's like this is not a dress rehearsal. This is it.
This is
This
it.
is your real life. you
Mhm.
know, make the most of it. Don't, live fearlessly, try new things. Don't be afraid to fail. If you're not failing, the whole thing about if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, or you're not trying, things that are
Yeah.
challenging enough. I mean, all that kind of thing has a lot of resonance for me and kind of what I am attracted to. I mean, why else would I start horseback riding at 47 and powerlifting at 67? Who does that? Who does
Oh,
that?
I
You,
don't know.
you do.
Right. Yeah.
You
So,
do.
a challenge, living fearlessly, sure, why not? Does that mean I'm not afraid of things? Oh no, that's not what it means. Nothing more intimidating than getting under a squat bar that has, 250 pounds on it or 255 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nothing more intimidating than that. You should be afraid in that situation. Shouldn't
Mm,
stop you from doing it, but you should definitely have some regard for that.
Have
mm,
respect for the
mm.
bar. But I think that's where you find your strength.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the physical strength, certainly the physical strength
Yeah.
lifted, but the mental strength that I think doing this, that powerlifting gives to women is the ability to come out and face the world and say,
Yeah.
if I can do this, I can do that.
Mhm.
I never, ever, ever get tired of watching these videos from all these different women. It doesn't matter how old they are. And they put their competition lifts up, mostly you see it. And they do that lift, whatever amount it is for them. And when they're done, you can see that they are like, I didn't know I could do that. I
Yes.
did that. It is just
It's
the best.
wonderful. That's the most
It's,
beautiful thing about this sport,
I
actually.
love it.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
love
to
it.
see women accomplish these goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's something we could end on. It's, I think that's a positive note to live fearlessly, and to age fearlessly
I
at this
love that.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Love
Mhm.
it.
because you can lift these things. Any other words of wisdom, Karen? You're quite good at this.
Thank you. Well, you don't have to know that you can do it. You just have to be willing to try. That's it. You just have to
That's
be
it.
willing to try.
And so,
Mm.
for all of you women out there who think that perhaps you might be interested in powerlifting, just go into the gym. Go
Yeah.
and find someone and try. And I think you'll enjoy it. Do
Or
like
any strength sport,
or any
technically.
strength sport,
Yeah.
really.
Or,
Just
or you know, or you might not, but it might lead you to the next thing.
Something else.
exactly.
Right. Hmm.
It's like that. It's the not doing because, oh, I'll fail, or I'm afraid,
Or
or
I'm too
what will
old.
people think, or I'm too old, or whatever the is.
Hmm.
Ignore
Hmm.
all that and just try and see
Just
what
try.
happens.
It took me like five different sports to get to where I'm at.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
you know, my
Yeah.
you find it, you find it,
And
you
look,
love it, and then
you're a
you
strong woman.
you just go with it, right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Well, that's
This is fun.
wonderful.
Thank you for asking me to do this. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
Karen, thank you for being
Yes.
on it again and give us an update of what's going on. And for all of you out in the audience, be sure that you take a look at our website called Old Ladies Lift. We have lots of t-shirts. I just mentioned that I put up a whole bunch of different ones,
Hmm.
all strong women type
Hmm.
t-shirts with great
This
attitudes.
is a good one.
Karen designed
That
that
is
Check
a
one.
your
good one.
assumptions.
Check your
That is
assumptions.
Well, Terry designed the art. I came up with the
Yes,
saying.
Terry did
Check
the
your
art.
assumptions.
And Karen, I think on this episode there may be a few that can be plucked out onto those t-shirts, Chandler. So right
Well,
there at the end, there was a lot of
oh,
good,
yes,
good
there were
bits.
some good sound bites there that I could put in for, yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. All
Yes.
right. Mind the gold, baby. Mind the gold.
There you go. Yes. Yes. I've been looking for some as I make, I want to have women have shirts that empower them.
Definitely.
And everything that we're doing. So we also have an Instagram page called Old Ladies Lift Official. And I've been posting pictures of women doing incredible things paired with quotes from other incredible women, sometimes men, about being strong, and not just strong physically, but strong mentally, and having the humanity about you, a grace about you, living well, all of those things. So definitely follow our Old Ladies Lift official site for inspiration. Check out the website and the
And the
Facebook.
YouTube
Oh,
channel.
and the YouTube.
Our YouTube
Especially the
channel.
YouTube.
Well, you're on the YouTube channel if you're watching this.
So if you guys want to check out the Old Ladies Lift YouTube channel, it is just Old Ladies Lift. And then this is Karen's second visit with us. So you check out her first interview with us. It has 225 views from 2 years ago, one of the most views that we've had on the YouTube channel. So if you know anyone that wants to get inspired by other women, send them to Old Ladies Lift.
Lots
Yes,
of good
watch.
conversations on there.
and send them to the Old Ladies Lift Facebook page or Facebook group,
Mhm.
which is private. So you have to join. You have to confirm that you are a woman. You can be over 40 and you have to lift or be interested in lifting.
Very
No
little
more
messiness
allowed.
on that Facebook page. Very little messiness. It's
Very
quite good.
little.
Yeah, we
Super
try very
supportive.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really
very
good.
supportive. And no, yes, no nonsense. We're
No.
all about supporting each other there. So thank you everybody for listening, and thank you, Karen, for being with us. And we will talk to you again, maybe in another year, and
Okay.
see how
Sounds
many
good.
more records you have
Yeah.
broken.
Hit me up at 75.
There you go. We'll just keep going.
Ooh. Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Karen.